Hey everybody, welcome back to Echo. We've only got one route to go, so let's go ahead and get to it, huh? I watched Jenna's tail disappear through the sagebrush. They're headed down the same trail that I had used to get to Lake Emma. TJ! TJ did seem to head off in that direction while we were fighting, though I can't imagine he'd go to the lake. I should go with them to help find the lynx. I'm also a little worried about Leo. It's been a long time since I've seen him that pissed. When I get there, I find Leo leaning back with his rear up against a big boulder on the shore. Bittersweet memories flood in. That rock is almost as much a staple of my childhood as the actual lake is. It's weird like that. Every memory I have of this place is dreamy and gold-tinged, but always has a hint of sadness about it, no matter what the situation was. Jen is standing in front of Leo, her arms folded as she talks to him. I can't see his face, but his posture is sagging and his ears are down, looking way older than he actually is. I stand back for a while, feeling awkward about intervening at this point. Leo occasionally shakes his head, then takes out his phone to look at it. I can see Jenna's getting annoyed, but then she says something and Leo turns his head to look back at me. I seize up for a second, but Jenna is beckoning me with her paw while Leo isn't looking. I start stumbling over the rocks towards them as Leo looks back down at his phone and Jenna starts walking towards me. Just talk to him. He'll listen to you. I look towards Leo, hunched forward, ears down, looking like an angry gargoyle perched on the edge of a church. Hold on, Jenna. I turn back around to face her. I look back over my shoulder at Leo, watching his ears flick towards us. I think Leo wants to be left alone. Jenna folds her arms and looks past me. You sure? I thought you could get him to calm down. I look at Jenna for a while, realizing that I'd just rather talk to someone more collected rather than a big angry wolf. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, alright. Should we head back then? Okay. As we start disappearing into the sagebrush, I look back in time to catch a glimpse of Leo looking over his shoulder. I look back down at the ground, wondering if it would have been a good idea to at least tell him that I felt like he needed time alone. I noticed Jenna looking around, her huge ears perked up wide like sails. What are you looking for? TJ. If it was up to me, I'd be leaving TJ alone as well, but Jenna always worried about him. I follow her through the brush in silence, unsure of what to say. So why didn't you hang back with Leo? I move along with her for a while, thinking it over. I don't know. When he's in a bad mood, he's really only good for a fight, you know? I catch up and start walking alongside her, since I was starting to taste the dirt being kicked up by her feet. Yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to let him cool down for a bit. I sort of envy the way she's dressed right now, with her short shorts and tank top. Jeans don't exactly breathe well. I finally start to see our picnic again. Carl's still sitting in the lawn chair, his head hanging over the back and smoke wafting around him. Jenna stops and puts her paws on her hips, looking around. Where do you think he went? There aren't many places he could have gone. Her eyes seem to settle, and I follow her gaze to a clump of brush and trees next to the river. If TJ had anywhere to hide in the short amount of time that he did, that would really be the only place he could have done it. Without a word, Jenna starts in that direction. I tag along awkwardly, kind of feeling like I'm invisible to her right now. As soon as we break through the brush, we spot TJ. I watch as Jenna immediately goes to his side and sits down. TJ's ears perk, but otherwise he doesn't look up. After a while, Jenna wraps an arm around TJ's shoulders. I see him bristle for a second, and Jenna says something to him that I don't quite catch. Finally, he leans in and hugs her, and I can hear him sniffling. I'm starting to feel like I'm intruding, and I start to back away, but Jenna sees me and jerks her head. Where are you going, Chase? Come here. TJ pulls back from Jenna and starts wiping at his eyes. Chase? Yeah. I feel like TJ would be embarrassed to have me around, and he probably is, but Jenna's pretty insistent, so I move forward to stand next to them. I was just telling TJ about the time we used to float the river on the old inner tube. I smile and sit down next to Jenna, stretching my legs out. Do you remember that, Chase? His voice is strained and a little crackly, but he seems to have things under control now. Do I? I always thought it was ridiculous to use one of those things when you could just float on your back. Sorry we're not all living floaties, Chase. We sit there for a while, and now it isn't as awkward. I feel like if it were just me and TJ, things would be a lot more tense. Jenna has a way of making things feel natural and easy. It's like her confidence is a shield to all my weird, awkward stupidity. I hear TJ shift and sniffle as he wipes his face again. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean... Nope. You stop right there, TJ. He does stop. It's hard not to when she has a tone like that. Flynn is an absolute dick. Never let him affect how you feel about things. He only thinks about himself and how he feels. Right, Chase? I feel like this is just a little bit unfair to Flynn. Yeah, he was pretty selfish, but he did care about other people. At least, I think he does, even though he hardly ever admits to it. Probably best to agree with Jenna right now, though. Yeah, he's just not thinking straight right now. I think coming here might have been a bad idea. That really shouldn't matter. In fact, we probably should have gone to the lake. What happened, happened, and there's not much we can do about it. Letting it absolutely rule our lives like this, to the point of preventing us from going where we want to go, that's pretty messed up. We all went through it, and it was awful, but we stayed friends, and here we are. Maybe we should celebrate that instead of accusing each other of bullshit? Yeah. Of course, what Flynn had been saying wasn't complete bullshit. None of us really know exactly what happened. Except TJ. I didn't have any reason to come here, and if I had the same mindset as Flynn, I never would have. TJ glances over at Jenna. How are things with you and... My family? Same as it's been for the past 5 years. I don't know. Maybe you could try... Jenna sighs deeply. Sorry, I didn't mean... No, TJ, it's fine, it's just... She seems to be thinking hard about what she's going to say. Man, the things that Jenna could say about her family. I have too many bad memories about that. That family is completely broken. Like, there's no fixing it. Going back there would just mean trouble. I've learned my lesson. With Adam and Dad gone, it's just my mom and Jeremy now anyway. Not much of a family to go back to. Has your dad not... Has anyone seen him since? As far as I know, no. But I wouldn't really care if he is back. And if he really is missing, well, Mom never filed a missing persons report, so I guess it wouldn't matter. I'm sorry. Why? You're not the one that messed it all up. TJ looks away, his ears down. Jenna sighs and puts an arm back around TJ's shoulders. And here I am, bringing everyone down when the point was to make you feel better. Chase, remind us of something happy. I jump, then scramble after being put on the spot. Remember when we called it Yeehaw River? I remember when you called it Yeehaw, Chase. You had a bit of a speech impediment back then. Yeah. I remember that. It was kind of cute. It's quiet for a moment. Then Jenna gives TJ a little nudge. So how's school going, TJ? It's not bad. I got accepted into the athletic training program, which is really cool because they're really selective. I think I'm one of 20 that they chose. Wow, that's fantastic, TJ. TJ smiles, though he's still looking at his feet. Thanks. Hey, but you got into Weston. I did. I furrow my brow at that. Hey, come on. Weston is like the stereotypical best school in the country. She looks over at me and smiles. It's great, I know. Just a lot of stress. Sometimes I like to get a break. That was a little surprising to hear from Jenna. Usually she was so energized and had a get her done attitude about almost anything. That's why I assumed she got into Weston in the first place. Maybe you should take a break then? It's kind of up to you, isn't it? Just because I want it doesn't mean I need it. Hey Teej, weren't you wanting to go hiking while we were here? Yeah. I know things are a bit bad right now, but it could be fun to go. Of course, TJ. I was planning to go with you anyway. Oh, cool! At that point, all of TJ's gloomy demeanor disappears. His tail quirked and his ears raised up. Jenna looks sideways at me, meaningfully. Yeah, definitely didn't want to do that. I'm not even doing anything, and already I'm sweating buckets and looking at the shiny water longingly. I would have jumped in the water by now if TJ wasn't here. For some reason, that would seem inappropriate. Right then, I feel something press down hard on my paw, which is splayed out behind me. Looking over, I see that Jenna has her paw on mine, leaning on it. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going. Yes! Jenna lifts her paw off mine, and a gulp. It didn't really hurt, but something about her suddenly touching me like that. It's settled then. We should probably get back. We want to get a lot of rest before the hike tomorrow. So where are we headed, TJ? Jenna sounds like she's in a much better mood than yesterday. We all are, really. The canyon! Echo Canyon, more specifically. You ever been? He looks at both of us with a grin. Nope. No, me neither. His ears fall a little. What? You know the town is named after it, right? How have you not been there before? I shrug and Jenna laughs. Because you have to walk through 3 miles of snake-infested desert to get there. That makes me bristle, because there definitely are snakes here. I can't help but scan the brush. You really shouldn't worry about that. They're more afraid of you than you are of them, and they do have a rattle, so just listen for it. Jenna grins and looks straight at me. Yeah, you're right. The most dangerous animal you'll find on these paths is the blonde. An involuntary shiver works itself up my spine. Jenna! TJ frowns. That's even less likely, Jenna. Great. Now that you said it, I'm going to be all uptight for the rest of the hike. You're welcome. Alright, let's get going. We want to make it to the top by noon. A few hours in, and TJ's quite a bit ahead of us. I feel a little bad about it, but I think he likes it that way. Probably wants to thank after yesterday. Jenna and I walk side by side, and she's making sure that I drink water the entire time. You should be done with that by now. She gestures at my water bottle, which is still half full. Ugh, come on, I've had like 3 already. I take a sip, then almost snort water as Jenna tips up the bottom of the bottle. Hey, I made TJ a promise here. You're an otter, you need it. Blah! Stop! I cough a few times, water running down my chin and chest. Even though it feels good, I wipe it away with the forearm. Jenna chuckles before we start walking again. Actually, you don't really need more water than me or TJ, as he could tell you. The water thing is actually more of a psychological need as opposed to a physical one. Oh yeah? I look over my wet camera bag, which definitely didn't need water. Yeah, you know, back when there weren't really any ethics in research, they separated an otter pup from water. Never allowed to swim. That makes me pause. Technically, in this day and age, otters don't really need to swim. A trip to the supermarket gets all that done. But something about not being allowed to be in water, to feel the cool, isolated space that I so longed to be in. What happened? Depressed, disengaged, neurotic in general. Then, when they were done, they just set him loose into the world. He killed himself a few years later. Wow. Yep. I mean, ethics are in place now, of course. Not that the Psychological Association is any better. You probably heard about their role in the whole advanced interrogations controversy. Like the waterboarding stuff? Yeah. But it really makes you realize how powerful the brain is. It's not all physical necessities. It must have been pretty awful for him that he killed himself. I can't imagine. Talking about offing oneself, though, it's got me thinking about Jenna's brother. So, you wanting to talk about Adam? No! Well, I sort of did, but I don't think that would be appropriate at all. I was just wondering, are you gonna go see your family sometime during the trip? We talked about it earlier, but I guess you didn't really give an answer. Jenna snorts loudly, tossing her head back. You're kidding, right? I feel my cheeks flush, knowing that I might have said something really offensive. I'm not really in tune with how things are with Jenna's family. Leo, and sometimes even Flynn dealt with most of that. I mean, aren't you a little bit curious? Curious is the wrong word. Oh? Maybe morbidly curious. Anyway, they haven't bothered contacting me since I left, so as far as I can tell, they're not missing me. Guys, there's a giant dip over here, so watch your step! TJ's quite a bit ahead of us now. I don't even see him anymore around all the boulders and brush. I pick up the pace and Jenna follows. Well, do you miss them? She doesn't say anything for a while, which tells me she's really thinking about it. No. She says it, finally, surprising me a little with her bluntness. At least not my mom and dad. Not even Adam. Really? Jenna shifts around as she grabs another water bottle out of the backpack and hands it to me. Adam, he had problems. Mom and Dad fucked him up, of course, but he took it out on me. He did some messed up stuff. I debate whether or not I should ask what exactly that messed up stuff was, but I'm way too scared of what it might be. Jeremy, though. I guess I wouldn't mind seeing him again. I gave her an incredulous look. See, Jeremy's the one I would have thought you wouldn't have wanted to talk to. Yeah. Now Clint is the one that fucked up Jeremy, but he really was a good person before then. Jeremy was, for as long as I can remember, a royal dick. A bully to me, TJ, and Carl. Along with Clint, he terrorized our childhood. That is, until Leo showed up. I'll never forget the day Leo rammed Jeremy's head into a tree and punched Clint so many times in the face his eyes almost swelled shut. Of course, Leo never got in trouble because neither of their parents gave a shit. Environment is really important to how you develop as a person. I think for a second. Well, you turned out alright. Environment and temperament make us who we are. Some people can just take more. It's clear that her temperament was a lot stronger than mine, whatever that was. If I had parents like that, I don't know how I would have survived. I take another gulp of water, and it's then that I realize how badly I need to pee. Looking off to the side, I spot a rather large boulder surrounded by sagebrush. Hey, you go ahead. I gotta take a piss. Jenna quirks her muzzle and folds her arms. Sure you don't want me to wait up for you? I'm kidding. She turns and starts walking up the trail. Watch out for spiders. Ha ha. Sometimes Jenna's jokes were so dry that I had a hard time figuring out if she really was joking or not. I dodge my way around the sagebrush and tumbleweeds towards the boulder and start to piss. Jenna really is an enigma. She's nice enough and smart, but she has this edge about her that always has me on guard for some reason. Fur prickles on the back of my neck. I'm not sure what it is, but something isn't right. I look left and right in the small chance that someone else is coming up the trail. It's weird feeling like this in broad daylight. Normally I don't get so uptight unless it's dark. And here's the opposite with species that can see better at night. Something's watching you from the brush. A shiver runs right up my spine and I tremble under its influence. As if of its own accord, my head whips around, immediately focusing in on a clump of sagebrush 30 feet away. And there, right in the middle, someone's face is staring at me. I can only call it a face because there are two eyes and a mouth, but I've never seen anything like it. It's flat, wide, and stretched out, sagging where the chin should be. I can't help myself. I yelp loudly and stumble to the side as I whip my body around to defend myself, somehow conscious of the fact that my dick is still out. Then it all comes together. I stare for a few seconds longer, then force out a tight, high-pitched laugh. Are you fucking kidding me? It's a rock. A white rock. And the sagebrush twigs have fallen over it perfectly to give it features similar to that of a face. I sigh and rub my own face with both my paws, feeling my heart hammering in my chest. I always did this shit to myself. As I lower my paws, I notice a wet streak across the left side of my pants. I hadn't finished peeing yet. Fucking son of a bitch. I hiss and turn back to the boulder, trying to work myself into a peeing mood again. Finally, as I start finishing up, the prickling feeling on my neck starts up again. I try to ignore it, but it's getting worse and worse. I shake my hips around a few times, then zip up and start back around the boulder. It's at that point that I give a quick glance back at the brush. The rock isn't there anymore. I stare, one paw on the boulder, feeling my fur start to bristle out all over my body. What? Maybe it's because I'm at a different angle now. The feeling of being watched is overpowering, though, and it's coming from the other side of the boulder, where I was just at. I look up the trail, but I don't see TJ or Jenna at all. I can't even hear them. I look back towards the boulder, wondering if I'm losing my mind. Gritting my teeth, I turn away and start back up the trail at a brisk walk, knowing that I'm acting just like a little kid. Despite that, I feel myself start to panic a little, and soon enough I'm running up the trail, and I'm not looking back. We made it! He says it, even though he's already sitting down on what looks like a rock bench. He probably got there a good 10 minutes before us. I'm sweating all over the place, but Jenna seems fine. It's embarrassing because it's only now that I realize she's been hanging back because of me. Group hug! TJ stands and holds his paws out. I want to protest because of how gross I must look, but Jenna sort of forces me into it as TJ walks up to us. This was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for coming. Well, glad you had fun, even if we weren't able to keep up. As we lean back from the hug, I see Jenna's nose wrinkle. I press my tail a little closer to my rear. Alright, let's eat! We sit down on the rock bench and TJ starts pulling the sandwiches out of the soft cooler. He'd been so excited about our trip that he'd gone to the convenience store by himself at 5 in the morning and made all our sandwiches. It's actually pretty good, too. There's even an avocado on it, even if it's the packaged mushy kind, according to him. We eat in silence for a while, and looking over I can see that Jenna's deep in thought, chewing slowly. What's up? She shrugs, then swallows. Just thinking about how this might be the last time we really get to hang out is all. That's kind of a sad thing to say. Well, think about it. I graduate in a few months and then I'll be off to the other side of the country. Then you'll graduate, Chase, and I don't think you'll be sticking around here. Maybe. And you, TJ, you might just leave the country. That would make sense. TJ's parents are back in his hometown. I think we'll get together again. It's just a matter of planning it right. It might be a while, but it'll happen, and there's always the internet. I'm just saying, I hope Flynn can get over himself before the end of our trip. I don't think this should be our big send-off. We've still got time. I lean back and drape my arms over the back of the bench, closing my eyes. I really want to take my shirt off, though. The fabric is almost soaked through and it's clinging in a really gross weight on my fur. The sun is beating down on me, shining bright red through my eyelids. If only there was a pond up here, I'd be able to sink to the bottom, the sun reduced to a shimmering silver. My type really isn't built for this kind of weather. I feel Jenna shift next to me, and suddenly I feel her nose up against my ear and I shiver a little. What the hell was she doing? I start to turn my head towards her. Chase? Do you need some musk off? I open my eyes, then squint against the brightness of the sun. What? I said. She leans forward, obviously not wanting TJ to hear. She laughs a little before she starts again. You're smelling a little strong. Instantly my ears burn and I scoot away instinctively, lowering my eyes. Shit, sorry. No, it's alright. You didn't know we were going on a hike before you packed, but I have some. TJ's looking over at us curiously as he nibbles on a salad wrap. Ears perked, and I don't know why, but I glare at him. Already humiliated enough. He frowns. What? Nothing. Jenna's just telling me I stink. Oh. Jenna laughs, then reaches over to her backpack and opens up the top zipper, talking in a normal voice now. It's the female brand, so it's not as strong, but it should get the job done. Thanks. I grumble and snatch it from her paw, instantly feeling shitty about it because I know she's just trying to be nice. Even though TJ and Jenna are probably the nicest people in our little group, it's still fucking embarrassing. I'd actually prefer Flynn's ribbing right now. I stalk off around a rather large bush and pull down my pants. The can is pink and covered in flowers. Great. I grab my tail and yank it up before giving my ass a good, liberal dose of girl smells. Of course, if I'd known I'd be doing anything so sweat-inducing, I would have brought my own boy-smelling brand. Chase, calm down, please. But I'm stuck with this, smelling like a girl in front of Jenna. Seriously, dude, it's not a big deal. Guess it's better than nothing. As I come back around the bush, I can tell something's off. TJ meets eyes with me, then quickly looks down, frowning. I glare. I'd honestly be happier if he just joined in with Jenna and laughed at me instead. She's buried in her phone right now, which is annoying since she told us before the hike that phones weren't allowed. All done? She doesn't even look up, but points at the bag with a foot. Go ahead and stick it back in the bag. I sigh and bend over to shove the can back in, then notice that it's been zipped closed again. Without thinking, I zip it back and widen the gap and immediately find a big, furry, orange-and-black spider glaring out at me from the bag. I scream like a fucking girl and jump, dropping the can, stumbling back, and falling flat on my ass as I trip over some rocks. I land on my tail wrong and it sends a jolt of pain up my back. Jenna, who already started laughing the moment I screamed, puts a paw to her muzzle. Only one, though, because the other is holding her camera phone and she's filming the whole fucking thing. Oh god, are you okay? She's still smiling behind her paw. Fine. I guess I have a decision to make. Whether to get mad or to just shrug it off and laugh with them. I go with the latter and grin sheepishly. Wow, I'd expect that from you, Jenna. But TJ, what the hell, man? TJ flinches, a sad look on his face. She told me she'd throw me off the cliff if I said anything. Jenna laughs again and puts her phone away before picking up the can and shoving it into the bag. Success! Where the hell did you even get that from? That one rest stop with the souvenir shop. Alright, everyone done? I know you need to get some shots of the canyon, Chase. Let's go do that. I sit cross-legged next to Jenna, a bit further back than she is, with her legs dangling over the edge of the cliff. Excuse me. I guess someone that's so confident about her life and future isn't worried about falling the 80 feet to her death. It's sort of the opposite of Carl, but with the same result. You know, one good thing about this place is stuff like this. Hanging off the edge of a cliff? Like of people, the mountains. I'll miss that. I hear the mountains back east are small, like hills. That sounds nice too. She picks up a sizable rock and tosses it off the edge, listening to the clatter and echo as it bounces down the cliff. Doesn't really matter though. I'll be living in a big city. Way bigger than Peyton. Are you nervous? About living in a big city? No. I'm more anxious to get started with school, actually. And of course, I'll miss you guys too. A lot. She flicks her ears back at TJ, who's flat on his back under a tree behind us, snoring lightly. I wipe my forearm across my forehead, the oils from my waterproof fur sliding nastily against each other. Sorry, but I pull my shirt off. I need to let my shirt dry out. It's fucking gross. She looks over at me, then, her silver and turquoise necklace catching at the light and flashing briefly. Jenna looks perfect, of course. The fur on her face and arms is brushed with a lei, held together by some kind of spray, probably. By comparison, I look like a soggy log covered in wet brown mold. I blush and look down, the bravado I had worked up to take off my shirt dissipating under her gaze. She doesn't laugh, though. I was wondering when you were going to take that off. Looked really uncomfortable. Yeah. Sorry I'm gross. It's not gross. It's just what your body does to survive. Jenna sometimes says things that I suspect carry a lot more meaning than what's on the surface level, but honestly, I'm too dumb to figure it out. I really hope my smell isn't overpowering the spray. But I'm in the middle of leaning to the side to see if I can catch a whiff of my butt musk, and I jolt back up. Huh? What was kind of gross is that there was another smell. Oh? Yeah. Did you pee on yourself? It takes me a second to register what she just said. Then it hits me, and this time I have to close my eyes out of shame. Of course she was going to smell that. Foxes can smell fucking everything on you that's happened in the last week. Yeah, I did. She laughs this time, and I look away, off into the canyon, again. I know it can happen, but it just sounds like it was a lot is all. I sigh and lean back on my paws, letting my head hang back. I debate telling her exactly what happened since it seems so childish, but it's not like she's being mean. She has a demeanor about her that just makes you want to talk. Must be that psych degree at work. I just saw something that scared me a little, so when I jumped, I got some on me. What did you see? She lays out flat on her back, legs still dangling over the side with her paws behind her head. I guess so she can get a better look at me. I avoid looking right at her in case she thinks I'm staring. Okay, this is gonna sound stupid, but I just felt like I was being watched. You know when you psych yourself up and everything looks scary? Of course. So I felt that behind me, and when I looked I saw what sort of looked like a face and some sagebrush. Just talking about it right now is getting my fur to prickle. I hadn't really thought about it since it happened, and now that I am, it's only now that I'm realizing how weird it all was. Huh, like a face you recognized? No. No, it was sort of flat, like it didn't have a muzzle, and white. I look back at Jenna, but she's not looking at me. Instead, it's like she's looking past me. That is weird. Yeah. Yeah, but it was a rock. We're wired to recognize faces, so we find them in a lot of things. Yeah, I mean, the twigs and stuff were falling across it in a way that made it look like it had eyes and stuff, but then I realized what it was. But I jumped and got pee on myself, so that's what happened. What's weird is that when I was leaving, I couldn't see it anymore. I say the last part with a laugh, mostly to hide how freaked out I am about it. When I look at Jenna again, I can see the fur on her neck has lifted a little. It was probably just the angle, though. You alright? Jenna looks back at me, and I can tell she's debating whether or not to tell me something. I wait. Just made me think about when I was a kid. Hadn't thought about it for years, actually. I pause. Do you want to talk about it? I'm worried I'm about to open up a can of worms. It wasn't traumatizing or anything like that. Well, it was, actually, but it wasn't real. Did you see a face? Yeah, not exactly like yours, though. It was more of a red color, but it was flat, too. That's what made me think of it. Whoa. Yeah. It had a body, too, but I can't really remember exactly what it was like. Did you dream it? No, not really a dream. At least not in the sense that I was asleep when it happened. I just see it walking around in broad daylight sometimes. What the hell? Are these like real, solid memories? Like it really happened? I don't know. It usually happened when I was sad or angry, like when Dad was having one of his moments. I just see it walk past the doorway or sit in a closet. Really? What the fuck? This was a long time ago, like when I was 5. I don't want you thinking I'm crazy, Chase. I don't. I saw things too as a kid. Yeah, I think you've told me. I had, and it's something I really don't want to think about right now. I'm pretty sure it's just something my mind made up because I was under a lot of stress. The brain can make up whatever it wants, really. It's part of the reason I went into the field that I did. I want to help figure these things out. Do you see it anymore? At all? She's quiet for a while, then shakes her head. No. My phone goes off then, and I jump with a little yelp. Jenna laughs and it breaks the tension a little bit, so I laugh with her. I know you said no phones, but you already used yours, so I think I get a freebie. Hey, I had to record your reaction for posterity. Looking at the message, I see it's from Leo. Where are you? I stare at it for a second. It seems a little short. Usually Leo throws in cheesy emoticons for everything. When he's not angry, of course. Jenna notices my expression. What's up? It's just Leo. I type out a quick response. I'm hiking with TJ and Jenna, and did we forget to tell you that? Almost instantly, I get a response. Yeah, you did. He's definitely got something up his ass. Wolf boy getting pissy? Maybe? I can never tell with him. Jenna's phone goes off right then. Ah, speak of the devil. Since it seems like she's inviting me, I lean over to read her phone. What the hell? I feel myself getting a little angry. What the fuck's his problem? Jenna gives a little playful smirk as she sits up and puts her phone away without responding. Aw, he's jealous. That gets me flustered for some reason. You think so? That, and he probably wants us all to hang out together. Which we should. But we need some time away before we give Flynn another chance. Anyway, we should head back. If we start now, we can grab dinner at the diner by 6. Jenna gets up and goes to wake up TJ, but I'm sort of lost in thought. I feel bad for Leo. Was he mad at me for not talking to him by the lake yesterday? After being out in the desert for so long, it feels absolutely amazing to be sitting in the air-conditioned diner. Having already ordered our food, I lean back against the booth, my eyes feeling a little heavy. So thanks again for going with me, guys. It wouldn't have been as much fun if there wasn't anyone to share it with. Of course, TJ. I had a lot of fun too. I put in my affirmative as well, grinning. I'm sorry you guys had to put up with my slowness. Then smell. Ugh, stop apologizing for it. It's like your species is against your own kind. I'll be sure next time that we don't do such a long trail. If there is a next time. I hope there is. Maybe. There's not exactly much else to do out here. The thought of hiking again makes my knees weak, but I don't say anything. So Chase, I have to ask, have you been dating around at Pueblo? That question takes me by surprise and I pause, looking at Jenna. TJ looks surprised as well, but looks at me curiously. It has been years since you and Leo were together proper. You two were pretty outspoken in all your social media pictures. TJ stirs some from his initial shock at the topic shift and nods, speaking up. Yeah, in comparison to back in the day, you've been pretty quiet on that front. I feel myself cringe inwardly in remembrance of all the kissing selfies and cheesy song quotes we'd post. Leo did most of it, but I was by no means innocent. As of late, I haven't really posted much. Most of the people who are still on my timeline just rant about political stuff. Mood. As the two look on expectantly, I feel myself shift into the pleather diner seat uncomfortably. Well, not really. Oh? Yeah. I guess after a relationship as long as Leo and I's, I've kind of just been focused on, adulthood. Adulthood is difficult. A reasonable thing to keep you occupied. TJ nods with a broad smile, his big ears flopping a little. Well, have you engaged in anything more casual since? I feel myself blanch a little before recombobulating. TJ just looking confused, thankfully. I downloaded one of those gay apps for meeting guys. All it really does is make me feel like crap, though. I look sidelong toward the links beside Jenna. He gives me a curious look. People on there can be pretty specious. I see a lot of no Stellidaes, no otters, and, no musk types. I met up with a few guys, but it was all pretty awkward and it didn't go anywhere. Most didn't look like their profile picture. That's awful. I can't imagine putting yourself up for that sort of thing. He pauses, then quickly holds up his paws defensively. I mean, meeting someone you like and love organically, I think that's the word, is important. Well, Chase here doesn't have that luxury. According to a study I read, about 1 out of every 25 people are gay. Then the chances of both parties having mutual attraction lowers the compatibility chances even more so. The online component is almost a necessity depending on one's region. Echo seeming to be a bizarre exception. I see TJ's face shift to a guilty expression, the gray feeling muttering a quiet "oh" before taking a long drink of water. I uninstalled it though when I visited my parents over Christmas. I did eventually reinstall it, but I guess I haven't looked at it much since then. I think you should check back into it. I'm actually a bit curious what sort of results you'll get in Echo. my mind reels back to 15-year-old me posting a photoshopped picture of myself on Peyton List Mail for Mail and the horrible aftermath. I don't know, Jenna. Probably wouldn't get much anyway. Most results would be from Peyton, miles away. Plus, I'm pretty sure I already know the only result is going to be a certain shirtless Gila. Honestly, I hate to sound like one of those podcasts, but something has to be in the water here. First Flynn, then Leo, then you. I watched all of you grow up and turn out gay. I still remember you sitting on the edge of my bed, sniffling about your parents finding out and how much of a deviant you were. Completely unaware that I'd had the same sort of conversation with both Flynn and Leo about a year earlier. Oh god. I placed my face into my palm. It is kind of weird, I guess. Jenna grins, then looks out the window. So I need to ask you a favor, Chase. I stiffen, wondering what the hell it might be after that conversation. I'm wondering if you could drive me to the mall. I want to get a few things. Oh, sure. What do you need? Jenna hesitates, and for the first time today, she's the one that seems embarrassed. Well, you know in Pueblo we don't exactly have a great comic book shop, even though it's huge. Oh yeah? I wouldn't really know. I never did go to that section of the mall. What's especially lacking is the manga selection. I smile. I'd forgotten the way that after getting her first job, I'd drive Jenna to the mall once a week and she'd buy her favorite manga. Jenna's still not looking at me, but I grin. Yeah, it'll be just like when we were in high school. Have you been keeping up on all those series? I remember being amazed at how much material was in those books compared to the comics, even if they weren't colored. Jenna looks back at me and I can see that she's a little relieved. Did she think I was going to make fun of her for it? I keep up with it online mostly. This is more for old time's sake. Believe it or not, that mall has some of the happiest memories I have of this place, aside from Leo's house. Of course I'd believe that. I guess there are a few special edition volumes I want to get that they might have. I was always surprised with what they were able to bring in. Well, that's cool. You know, I watched an anime since I last saw you. Oh, really? What was it? I can't really remember. Ichirohei... It was a long title, but it was about this old wolf guy that becomes a samurai. Ichirohei no Inoru? She says it quickly, with what sounds to me like a perfect accent. Maybe? That sounds about right. Jenna makes a face like she swallowed a lemon. It is. It's the only old wolf samurai show I know. You gotta watch some of the older stuff. Anime these days is just... You know? No? Well, we need to do that too. One of these nights we're going to marathon Ganbatte Ne. The hotel Wi-Fi is good enough for it, I think. It's got the sort of Western-style medieval atmosphere to it. While I never really watched anime, even if Ichi whatever it was wasn't bad, the idea of staying up late with Jenna watching old foreign cartoons sounds like a lot of fun. Wanna join us, TJ? TJ looks up from his phone. Huh? What? Do you want to watch anime with us? Sure. Why not? Hey, no phones. I tease him, reaching for it and take it from him. I thought that was only for the hike. I glance over the screen, expecting to see some Christian social group or something, but instead it's a text thread from Leo. Yo, Tej, where you at? Hi, Leo. We're hiking. You going somewhere after that? Yeah, the diner. Do you want to meet us there? Is Chase going too? Yeah, he's here. Are you reading my texts? That's really rude. I look up at TJ, who's glaring at me from across the table. I look back down at the phone. All right, on my way. Leo's coming? Yep. He's been messaging me all day. Jenna and I look at each other, both of our brows raised. Excuse me again. What? But that's when Leo's van pulls in front of the diner and I hear Jenna sigh loudly. Leo's bulky form bounces out of the truck, doing a little jog up to the diner. The bell to the door rings as Leo walks in, all smiles. Hey, Leo. TJ? Leo immediately squeezes into the booth next to me, almost sandwiching me between him and the window. Chase, what's up? He wraps a big arm around my neck and yanks me roughly into a hug, forcing a little squeak out of my throat. See, this is how it should be. We came here to hang out, not to break up into little groups and fight. That was Flynn's fault. Jenna says it quietly, eyeing Leo's arm around my neck. Yeah, well, I'm gonna get him to apologize. Things take a little bit of time, you know? Jenna doesn't say anything, instead choosing to look over the menu, even though we have already ordered. You have fun hiking? Leo turns his goofy, tongue-out smile on me. I'm about to answer, but that's when his face changes, and I see his nose twitching. You smell like a girl. His head snaps to Jenna, and it's instantly obvious as to what he's thinking. Jenna, who's looking up now, just smiles sweetly, not trying to explain the situation at all. Leo tenses up, arm tightening around my neck, almost choking me. I forgot my musk stuff, so Jenna lent me hers. Leo looks back at me, and I can tell he's trying to decide whether or not to believe me. TJ, though, for once, chimes in with something useful, cheerfully unaware. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Sorry, Chase. He looks at me apologetically, but honestly, I could kiss him right now. Leo relaxes a little, but his ears are still pointed straight up, a sure sign that he's still tense. Alright. Well, next time you go, I'm coming too. Anyway, I'm planning Carl's birthday party tomorrow. What? That's like a month away. Yeah, well, there's not much else to do. Jenna leans back in her seat and folds her ears down. That's really short notice, Leo. Couldn't you have told us this before we came so we could prepare? Well, I was planning to do that today, but you guys just took off without telling me. I don't have a gift! Leo rubs his face. We still got time to do that. Just wanted to tell you what's up. We chat for a while longer, then we get our food. Leo orders a milkshake and hangs out with us the whole time. Usually I would love to have Leo around, but something about this feels forced and awkward, and Jenna's gone pretty quiet. Leo doesn't let go of my neck the entire time. And with that, we are going to leave off for today. Next time we'll continue with Thursday. Not Thursday, Wednesday. I saw the title card. I know how to read words sometimes. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.